Hello again everybody, and welcome to what is going to be the third and final race for tonight's events here at Lime Rock Park for rounds 4, 5 and 6 of Season 2 of the 2014 BSR Carrera Cup here live on BSR TV on YouTube. Scott Wood was once again here to guide you through all the action, and after two very high octane and very high drama races so far on this 1.5 mile circuit, I'm pretty sure that race 3 is set to give us exactly the same. And of course we're heading into the warm-up session right now, and of course they are out there doing their thing in warm-up, just making sure that the everything is running as it should be, to make sure there's no problems with the setup and making sure they're all dialed in towards another 16 laps of Lime Rock Park once again for the final time. Let's look at warm-up times so far. Stefan Hug is currently quickest on a 48.2, and he's currently quickest by almost 0.3 of a second from the winner of race 2, Ashley Sutton. So race 1 winner is fastest, race 2 winner is second fastest. Stanimir Zuzov, who's had very mixed fortunes this evening, is in third quickest at the moment, 48.542, just ahead of Matt Malone. Some very consistent performances, especially in his lap times, to be fourth quickest, number 007. Do remember, of course, if you haven't already tuned in and want to see what it's like from Matt's point of view, then do be sure to tune into his twitch.tv channel just before the start of the race. You've got a couple of minutes to log on and do so. twitch.tv/showdown1983. Rather nice chap from America, and he'll always welcome anyone that comes to his streams. I think he's one of the bigger streamers on Twitch for iRacing. Looking at the rest of the top 10, Roman Boutellier is 5th, Jeroen Kaiser is 6th, Gary Toole 7th, Stefan Hefford is 8th, William Botha is 9th, and Laura Bond, great effort on her lap time to get into the top 10, 10th quickest, 49.327. She was rather unfortunate not to finish in the top 10 last time out. She did get up to about 8th position at one point, ahead of Stephen Hug and Ashley Sutton, as they were charging their way back through the field after they started down the grid. Now, of course, again, as it was in race 2, speaking of the grid, of course, the top 10 will be reversed, and the grid was, of course, formed as a direct result of race 2. And, of course, whoever's finished in 10th will start in pole position. Whoever finished 9th in race 2 will start second. And, of course, as we said, the whole top 10 will be flipped and reversed, which means that, of course, whoever won the race will start from 10th, which is of course, going to be Ashley Sutton, with Stefan Hug starting 9th and Ian D. Smythe starting in 8th. A few other guys down the order. We've had a couple more changes in the warm-up times. Robert Plumley is now in 10th quickest, ahead of Dion Phillips in the 015. Now Paul Thurston in the 50s, now 12th quickest, and Laura Bond has slipped down to 13th. Other times, Nick McCarran, who was on pole position for race 2 before all sorts of problems befell him, he's 15th quickest. Also Cyril Thomas, another man who was up there in the hunt for a top 10 finish, especially near the higher end of the top 10, even the top 5, is down in somewhere around, if I can find out where he's got to. No, I appear to have lost. No, he's actually jumped up to 9th. That's why I can't find it, because he's actually further up the order than I was expecting. But he's done a 49.052 to get, so he's now 10th there, because the time that changes all the time. Ellis Stevens has just popped up into 6th behind William Botha. William Botha in the 302 to go 5th quickest. Anyone down the field we weren't expecting. Daniel Hunt has only done a 59.682, possibly because he is having one or two issues with his setup. He is out there right now, and I'm pretty sure that's going to end as he heads across the line right now with the aid of a toe. Jump up to, he has gone to 28, only 28th quickest, 50.606. So not exactly dialed in is that number 07 car just yet. He's got, I assume at least, plenty of clean air in front of him to try and grab another lap and possibly move himself in front. Not too many cars in front, and they are a few seconds up the road anyway, so he shouldn't have too much trouble to get a proper lap time. It's causing problems with leaders as well in race 2, running at the same pace, but of course at that same pace it makes it increasingly more difficult for the leaders to get around lapped cars. Now, Ashley Sutton, looking at the warm-up times, has now once again jumped to the top of the times, but yet again the only man in the 47s as two cars hit the barrier on the exit of turn of the final corner, and they spill back onto the circuit, and that's surely could have ended in disaster. quite catch it. We were looking at Daniel Hunt. Someone else has gone off as well. Now, was that... I don't think that was Ian D. Smythe. It may have been, because it was an all-purple car. But I believe it was. So Ian D. Smythe was the man that went off up at Big Bend. But he's now rejoined. Now, the session has now ended. So we do have ourselves our warm-up session over. That does mean, of course, that Ashley Sutton was quickest in 1, but of course it does mean now that he will have to start the race from 10th after his win in race number 2. Hopefully this time will tick over and we will start to head onto the grid, which we are now. And here is the grid as it stands coming into this final race. And this is how they will line up for the final race of the evening. It's going to be Matthew Dalton in the 54, who will start on pole position, with Stanimir Zuzov in second place in the number 134. Row 2 sees Gary Toole in the 30 and Jose Almeida in the 58. Michael Tadder in the 181 and Jeroen Kaiser in the 23 on row 3. 7th and 8th are Ian D. Smythe and Stefan Hug, with then Ashley Sutton and Matt Malone rounding out the top 10. So once again, somebody who finished in the top 10 in the previous race is not present for race 3, even if they haven't registered properly, because they are not up there where they should be. Rest of the top 10, of course, rest of the top 20 quickly. Roman Botellier in 11th, Ellis Stevens 12th, Tony McCallum 13th, Dion Phillips in 14th spot, and Stefan Herod, Nick McCarron, William Pinar, Darrell Taylor, Marcus Narrison, Halietas around the top 20. Lights are out as the revs are up, and we are racing for the final time at Lime Rock Park. A decent start from the front row, not too many changes. Gary Toole has held into 3rd place, and so has Jose Almeida as they charge into turn 1 for the first time. And you can see if there's any problems as they move through. Looks as though someone lost it in the back of the field. I think there's a couple more cars going on. The 24's gone around of Ellis Stevens. And also I think the 888 of Cyril Thomas has also made a mistake at some point, but he lost it going towards turn 1. So already a couple of cars falling into dramas, but up at the front as we look back towards the leaders, and it is Matthew Dalton making the most of the clear as they head across over the uphill and through the right-hander of West Bend, this very fast right-hander, and Dalton continues to lead then. Zuzov in 2nd, not too many changes in that top 10. Onto the pit straight for the first time they come then. Dalton leads, Zuzov 2nd, Toole in 3rd, then Almeida 4th, Tadder, whereabouts is he in there? He's dropped back a few spots. Who is actually in 5th spot? The answer to that question is in fact Ashley Sutton. Ashley Sutton already up to P5, and this time he's in the number 9 car. So 3 races, 3 different numbers. It seems to be working for Sutton, because he is now up there and he's fighting hard to get himself towards the front and to possibly make it 2 wins out of 3 races. Jose Almeida is the latest victim, which means that now Ashley Sutton is up to P4. Next target, of course, down the line is going to be the 30 of Gary Toole. Looking back down the order, Stefan Hug is also on the charge as well, as you'd expect, in the 15. He is now giving Jose Almeida cause for concern. As is Matt Malone, he's up there in 7th place after starting in 10th spot. Dion Phillips in 8th, and Michael Tadder, despite starting on row 3, down to 9th. Roman Botellier running up the top there. Stefan Heffer gets it very sideways on the exit in 11th place. He's surely going to let Tony McCallum down the outside. And he does. But that was Tony McCallum losing it. Stefan Heffer getting past. Or repassing, I should say. So back towards the front. Dalton leading as they head onto the no-name straight for the 3rd time. And I think that Jeroen Kaiser's had some problems, because that's actually him in front of the leaders. Let's double check that. Yes, it is. Jeroen Kaiser's had some problems despite starting in the top 10. So he's had an incident at some point during these first few laps. Let's just see how this is all going to play out. And you can already see back in 4th place the looming figure of Ashley Sutton, giving Gary Toole the signal to hurry up, otherwise he'll have to overtake him. He's got a beautiful little run down towards the big bend, pulls to the inside, press that a little bit later, through he goes, job done, into 3rd place. So another possible opportunity to get into the podium. And next up is Stanimir Zuzov. Now Zuzov may not pose so much of a threat. Never count out anyone that's prepared to have a fight in the battle position. And of course now, Stefan Hug, it's his turn to get around Gary Toole. Already, Matt Malone's got around Jose Almeida, who really has considerably dropped off the pace back in 7th spot. He's falling into the clutches of Dion Phillips in the 015, if you can at least keep it on the road. Michael Tadder dropping that further in 9th with Stefan Heffer is now behind. I think that's a lapped car in front of him. Whether or not he's going to move out of the way, I'm not sure. But back on the pit straight, let's see what's happening. Ashley Sutton is still in third place, but he is now trying to squeeze his way through to get around Zuzov. Just a little bit across the curb, he's getting quite racy and almost slightly impatient. Oh, he's tagged to the rear end of Zuzov slightly. And Sutton still in third, but he's certainly showing he's getting impatient. Practically saying, come on, get a move on. Oh, he's lost it sideways, he got too impatient. Clips the barrier, goes around. And that's what happens if you get just a little too desperate. And Ashley Sutton's got himself to blame, and thankfully saw that train of cars coming through before he came out in front. And I think he's going to rejoin. I think they might just come through, but just in front of Tony Sederholm. Tony gets around him. So once again, a mistake for Ashley Sutton, which to be fair was all his own doing. He just got that little bit too impatient and a little bit too heated up behind Zuzov. Now, Sutton may argue that Zuzov wasn't driving quick enough to warrant keeping a consistent pace. But Zuzov will argue he did nothing wrong. So, but in the end, it is Sutton's mistake, and he is down in order, back down to 14th. He's got enough time just about to try and get himself back in. Apologies for the disconnection there on my part. I think my connection had a bit of a spike on that one. But just trying to get myself back into the server right now. But at the point that I actually left the action, as I keep talking whilst we try and get myself back into the server to watch the race, it was indeed. I'm trying to actually remember the name of the guy that was leading, but Dalton still leads. Thank you for that. My ears would remind me of that one. Now, the point I left was actually off someone else. Ashley Sutton's gone around again. Ashley Sutton's gone around again with more problems. Now then, I do have pictures once again, so I can now see exactly what's going on. So Hug is now up to third place and chasing Zuzov. Now, the question that is going to be on his mind, of course, is he going to fall into the same trap that Sutton fell into? Which means that he might... Oh, and more contact. William Pinard's gone straight off for the final corner. My camera just cut to that on the screen. So, incidents there at lap... at the final corner. Let me just quickly go back to the front, because that's the most important battle at the moment, at least. So, Dalton's still leading. Zuzov second, a car pulling off into pits. I think that's Ashley Sutton, I think. In a whole world of hurt. In fact, is that him pulling into the pits, possibly? He's not even showing as being in the race. But we carry on. Dalton leading, but he has got both Zuzov and Hug, causing an awful lot of pressure. He seems to be absorbing it well. 54. And Gary Toole has fallen back slightly in fourth. He does have, and he's a few seconds ahead of Dion Phillips in fifth. Almeida is in sixth, giving him the chase. Then Pepper seventh. Michael Tadder is in eighth, with William Bota in ninth on his tail. And then Tony Sederholm rounding up the top 10. Matt Malone also Matt Malone in 10th place. He's got around, and there's a huge titanic scrap going on between Cyril Thomas, Nick McCarron and Simon Field. McCarron heads that field, heads that group, I should say, for 13th place. Now, is that Simon Field getting up the inside of Cyril Thomas? Yes, it is. So Simon Field up the inside of the 888. Through he goes. And meanwhile, Dalton is holding on to the lead, and that's back to the traffic once again. Now they're trying to get around the number 4, and that is Marcus Naris, would you believe? And Zuzov managed to pull alongside. Is Stefan Hook going to follow him through? Oh, yes. But ran a little too deep. Gary Tour gets his way through as well. So they've managed to get around the number 4. I'd imagine that their next target is possibly going to be Robert Teams in the 303 machine. That's the next car which is possibly going to be up the road for them to lap. Maybe not, but it's the 35 in fact of Halit Ertas, who started back in 19th spot, and certainly not being that courteous to Matthew Dalton, I should say, to say the least. He's not really interested in giving way. We've had to force him. What is Ertas doing? He has to move out of the way quickly, and that's now allowed checked of everyone. And Hook has got his nose up the inside of Zuzov and actually got around him. Great pass from Stefan Hook, and that's also put Gary Tool in the mix as well. As they head now down through no name straight, Gary Tool might line him up for a third, pass into the 3rd place. You have lapped cars around, that's actually behind your own Kaiser, who's a lap down. They've just got around, and he's back down in 20th spot. The 2nd, 3rd and 4th running very close together, and that was all caused, I feel, by the fact that Dalton was trying to lap Halit Ertas in the 35, and because he was kept on the racing line and was so slow off the corner, it caused a concertina effect. Everyone checked up behind Dalton, and Zuzov, as a result, just left enough room on the inside for Hook to squeeze through and find a gap. And the result of that is through now into 2nd place and free to chase after Matthew Dalton. So Stefan Hook on lap 13 of 16 in this final, a 3rd of 3 races here at Lime Rock Park, has a chance to possibly get himself a victory, his 2nd victory. He says, oh, Zuzov loses off the belt, but into the barriers. Oh, Stanimir Zuzov, and it's falling victim to exactly what's happened also to Ashley Sutton before, and several cars, including Ian D. Smythe. So Zuzov now does a fast tow back to the pits, and that now hands 3rd place to Gary Tool, very much so on a plate, despite the fact that he has a lapped Jeroen Kaiser behind him, to keep him honest. Now then, someone's off at turn 1. Couldn't quite make out who it was by the number, but someone has decided to take a trip and is off the road up at turn 1. And quick note update on Ashley Sutton. He is not in the race anymore. He's down in he's currently showing his score as 28th spot. Other drivers also out. Vittorio Saltamacchia, Laura Bond, Richard Wild, Benjamin Gregory, Daniel Hunt, Roman Boutellier and Ellie Stevens are all out of the race. On lap now, at the end of lap 14 of 16, and once again, I think someone's lost it in the background. And it's Gary Tool. Gary Tool, in fact, has spun. Gary Tool spins for what was 3rd place, and that's now put Dion Phillips onto the podium. With Jose Almeida also getting through into 4th position, so Gary Tool rejoins. He's 6th in fact. Stefan Hefford in the 72 also gets through, and back to the leaders, and Holt Dalton has got Stefan Hook all over his rear wing. On the penultimate lap, could there be a last-minute lead change here? Dalton's done so well to hold on to the lead up until this point. It'll be heartbreaking for Hook to snatch it away from him, but of course, Hook has been the faster man. And look at the train of traffic they've got, including, of course, again, Halit Ertas. He was the one that caused all the problems before. Down the pit straight to start the final lap. Has Dalton got enough left in these 1.5 miles to hold on and take a race victory? Or would it be 2 races out of 3 for Stefan Hook here at Lime Rock Park? Through Big Ben for the final time. They're still behind on Ertas, a little bit wide there for Hook. As they try to get around, and Ertas once again loses it. Cross onto the grass, someone else is up on the grass, but manages to slow down enough to allow them through. And Dalton has pulled a small gap. And is that enough? There's more contact behind, and Ertas is back off again in the background. But Dalton, amazingly, I think Hook is back off the 2nd. So it'll be a lights to flag victory, it seems, as they come through West Bend, underneath the bridge and into the final corner. What a drive! It will be lights to flag for Matthew Dalton out of the final corner. After a great display of driving, Hook came close, but it's not enough. Dalton takes race 3, Hug second place, and Dion Phillips, amazingly after a mistake from Gary Toole, inherits third place and a spot on the podium. Well done, Dion, he deserves that one. Jose Almeida fourth, and look at that, and Stefan Heffer just held off Gary Toole for fifth place. Michael Tanner comes home seventh, just ahead of William Botha. Tony Sederholm ninth, and Nick McCarron, a little way back, comes home in 10th spot to round out the top 10. Simon Field 11th, Robert Plumley 12th, Cyril Thomas comes through in 13th, ahead of Tony McCallum. But no, it's not Ian D. Smythe, in fact, came through in 14th. So a last lap change there for Ian D. Smythe after problems for him. Darrell Taylor was 16th, ahead of Matt Malone in 17th place, who's just coming around the final corner right now to finish his race. Shame for Matt, he was hoping for more, but just got caught up in too many incidents and finds himself down near the end, bottom of the top 20. Jeroen Kaiser finished in 18th. Stanismir Zuzov, who was looking so good for a podium, just lost it on the exit of the uphill, and that's what put him into the barriers and ruined his race. And then Paul Thurston, rounding out the top 20, he's doing with a grass tracking with a rather bent number 50 machine, but I think he is at least trying to get himself towards the line. He is struggling, but he'll make it. I think doesn't want to turn. There he goes, top 20. 2 laps down, but it still counts, and he has made it across the line and promptly parks it, and I'm not surprised. Eckhart von Glan was 21st. Any other drivers that did have a few problems? I think the main talking point from that was Ashley Sutton out of the race. I think really, to be honest, Ashley just was a little bit too impatient trying to get around Zuzov. You could plainly see he was running at a faster pace, but just I think his impatience just got the better of him, and he just stepped on the gas pedal a little bit too quickly. And of course, around it went into the barriers, and of course he went off again, and that time that was the end of it. So 3 races, 3 different winners, and of course we now move on to the next round of the championship. Of course, I'm not sure if my cameraman can let me know when that is for next week, but of course I'm sure we'll be notified in a moment's time. And of course we've still got a few more races to go. Of course, this brand new generation of rough RT12R, of course the new version released very recently, and these guys have it's had mixed responses, but the general consensus is this is definitely an improvement going forwards. Now, in terms of BSR TV events, be sure to remember that, of course, we have the iRacing BTCC taking place tomorrow night. Once again, same race format, 3 races. First one at 10 to 9, the second one at 9:30, and the third race at 10:10. And the sequences will be once again as they were before in the Carrera Cup. So, race 1 will be due to a qualifying session. Race 2 grid decided by the result from race 1 with the top 10 reversed, and exactly the same for race 3 as well. The top 10 for race 2 reversed, and the rest of the field as they finished in that second race. So, racing finished, and that is Stefan Hug for the winner of race 1, Ashley Sutton the winner of race 2, and an awesome win for Matthew Dalton, a lights to flag victory for him in race number 3. That concludes the action here at Lime Rock Park. Thank you very much for watching. We really hope you have enjoyed these broadcasts just as much as we have broadcasted them and myself commentating on them. Been a rather crazy night of racing here at Lime Rock Park, but of course 3 new winners, and of course we go forward in this second season in the BSR Carrera Cup to our next venues. Be sure to join us next week, but until then, from Scott Woodward and everyone here at BSR TV, thank you very much for watching and take care. Bye for now.